spins. Step back, trying to draw another foul, and it goes in! Oh, Steph Curry!
Over the years, Steph Curry has been called many things. Baby-faced assassin, greatest shooter in history, the man who ruined basketball, and even, in some corners, overrated. But worse? That's not a word we associate with Curry. And yet, after a strange summer, a Team USA roster that looked more like a Reddit thread than a super team, and one peculiar interaction, it begs the question, is Jimmy Butler actually making Steph Curry worse? Let's rewind, because I know that sounds like a stretch. So in the summer of 2024, Team USA assembled for the Olympics with a mission: reclaim dominance. After a humiliating World Cup finish, the nation put together a redemption squad. On paper, absolute juggernaut. Curry, LeBron, KD, Tatum, Jimmy Butler, Booker, Bam, a roster of Hall of Famers and All-Stars. But if you watch the early exhibition games, or worse, those awkward press conferences, you probably noticed something. It was off. Not just the chemistry, but the energy. Steph Curry, usually the light, not physically but spiritually, there was no glint in his eyes. And at the center of this slow-burning locker room's weirdness, Jimmy Butler. Let's talk about Jimmy. Jimmy Butler is the NBA's equivalent of a philosophy professor who does push-ups between lectures. He's unpredictable, intense, and thrives in chaos. He demands discipline and grinding intensity from everyone around him. And that's not really how Steph Curry operates. Steph games flows from freedom, quick triggers, off-ball movement, improvisation. Curry's game is jazz, but Butler's game? War drums. Slow, methodical, punishing. He takes 22 seconds off the shot clock just to drive into a defender's chest and yell, "and one" after a layup. Two completely different basketball religions. Put them on the same court, you don't get harmony, you get friction. And the numbers don't lie. In Team USA's early exhibition games, Curry's true percentage dipped to 53%, a number he hadn't touched since his rookie year. His usage rate was the third lowest on the team. Meanwhile, Jimmy's touches per possession ranked second only to Jason Tatum. Of course, those are small sample sizes. Summer exhibitions aren't Game 7 of the finals. But considering Curry thrives in high-paced, movement-heavy offenses, the contrast was definitely glaring. With Jimmy on the court, Curry averaged 1 point per possession. With Jimmy off, that number jumped to 4. Now that might seem small, but in elite basketball, it's seismic. Curry's off-ball cuts were running into clogged paint. His handoffs weren't pulling defenders because Jimmy was holding the ball for 15 seconds like it was a grudge. Maybe it's about culture. Jimmy Butler is heat culture, discipline, grit, 5 a.m. workouts, and more film sessions than sleep. He once famously told teammates to stop laughing at practice. He called out Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins to their faces, then dropped 40 with third stringers just to prove a point. Steph? He leads by joy. He loosens the locker room, jokes, dances at shoot-around, makes you want to play, not compete for your soul. So what happens when you combine those contrasting energies? Confusion, passive-aggressive interviews, a Steph Curry who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Since Team USA's training camp began, multiple Warrior Beat reporters noticed Curry seemed off. Less vocal, skipped some media sessions, not shooting as much pre-practice. This is a man obsessed with his pre-game routine. If Curry's skipping warm-up shots, something's wrong. Insiders, even Steve Kerr, both Warriors and Team USA coach, had to talk to Curry about re-engaging mentally. One source even said, Steph feels drained, like he's trying to match Jimmy's intensity, but it's not him. Let that sink in. The greatest shooter of all time is adjusting himself to match a teammate who's never shot above 33% from the 3 in his playoff career. There's a subtle danger here. When you play next to a force like Jimmy Butler, the gravity shifts. He makes every moment feel like it's life or death. For players like Bam Adebayo, that's a gift. For players like Curry, though, it might be a curse. Steph's game needs space, flow, rhythm. Without it, you don't get a better Curry. You get a neutered Curry. Think about it. Jimmy Butler made the finals twice in 4 years. But his co-stars, Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, even Bam's offensive game have all plateaued or regressed. Now, Curry's on that list. Not because Jimmy sabotaged him, it's just the way that Jimmy's presence simply shifts the room. It always has. And this time, it might be for the worse. Now, we also gotta consider the age factor because, let's be real, Steph Curry isn't 27 anymore. He's 37. He's played over 1,300 games with deep playoff runs nearly every year for a decade. The shot is still pure, the handles are still tight, but the stamina, the speed, the bounce off those double screens, it's not like 2016 Steph. So maybe Jimmy isn't making Curry worse, maybe time actually is. Cause here's the twist, Steph's decline, if that's what this is, didn't show before the Team USA cycle. Before that, he averaged nearly 27 points per game on elite efficiency. He was the guy keeping the Warriors from full collapse. But since Team USA camp, his efficiency dips, his aggression dips, even his minutes dip. So we're left asking, is this just father time, or did Jimmy Butler accelerate the clock? Now, let's flip the script. What if Jimmy isn't hurting Steph, but exposing him? What if Jimmy Butler, by playing his relentless bulldog brand of basketball, is revealing a truth? Curry's system-reliant greatness is vulnerable when the system breaks. Jimmy doesn't need screens, doesn't need motion, doesn't need rhythm. He just goes. Maybe that's the issue. Steph thrives in systems. Jimmy destroys systems. KD adapted. Clay fit perfectly. Draymond, he facilitates. Jimmy, he doesn't adapt. You adapt to him. And if you don't, you get left behind. So is Jimmy Butler making Steph Curry worse? The easy answer, yes. The eye test says yes, the numbers say yes. Even Steph's body language screams, "Get me out of here." But the truth is deeper. Jimmy isn't ruining Steph. He's revealing him. The uncomfortable stuff, the out of rhythm stuff, the not in control stuff. For a player who built a decade-long legacy on grace, control, and joy, that might be the worst version of Curry we've ever seen. Sometimes greatness shines brightest when it's challenged by chaos. Other times, it gets swallowed by it. Right now, Steph Curry is learning the hard way what happens when chaos wears a number 22 jersey and doesn't care if you're the greatest shooter of all time. This isn't just basketball, it's a culture clash. Joy versus grit, flow versus friction. Steph is learning, not all greatness blends. Some of it collides, and when it does, someone has to bend. The question is, can Steph bend without breaking? Because if Jimmy Butler is the storm, Steph Curry might be the candle flickering in the wind. And that might be the most un-Curry thing that we've ever seen. This is the Butler effect, and it's very real. Now, if you found this breakdown wild, why don't you see what the numbers say about the only NBA player today who comes close to matching Nikola Jokic's game? Watch analytics revealed who's the closest NBA player to Nikola Jokic next. Trust me, it's something you don't want to miss.